Good morning guys, here's Mark from the RCalsace in France, and we have here the Arrma Talion EXB. Why did I take that baby? For many reasons. First of all, I love the Talion since the first time I had to drive one. I began to drive Arrma with the Kraken V1, V2, V3. I had the Typhoon V2 and V3, and I never really get to the Talion until a subscriber from me sent me one to test. And once I had to drive this Talion, I was really no more tended to get the Kraken, because the better weight distribution, the smaller, lighter tires make this thing way more agile than the Kraken. The fact is, you have 500 grams less weight because just of the tires, and the car is not so bright. The Kraken is really bright because of the extended hubs, and this is something you feel really when you're turning, not in the sand. If you drive gravel, sand or loose dirt, it's nice with any car, but I drive the most of the time in grass, and in this type of terrain the Talion is really the king. So once Arrma decided to do the EXB series, I was thinking, okay, I wait for the Talion EXB. I know they want to do it, they're gonna do it, but it was a long time. So I take anyway the Kraken. I was disappointed because I get the first version with the differential problems, so that was really not nice, because it was the third time I was disappointed in a row from an Arrma production after they was bought by Horizon Hobby. So I was really not happy with Horizon Hobby, because for me at that point they are killing the Arrma spirit. Arrma are not so high in price car, tough cars, easy access, no geek stuff on it, just drivable machines for a good price. And now they are beefed up with telemetry, with AVC, and with some complicated stuff, and especially a lot of shine. And I'm not a freak from shining with 3 shine left or two from front, 2 under that pinion. Many people complaining about Traxxas or Hobao and some brands, but keep in mind they not need any shines. They are molding so good the plastic that the diff just fits fine. You put it in there, click, is in the truck, no shine needed, all is fine. So that's a little point, but it's a point. So we want really see an upgrade at the mold from the cells themselves, so the new diffs fit just perfect in there. Maybe bigger tools also at the differential gears, so because bigger the tools are, less they overjump. So that means you no more have on hard throttling. So that's a fact who Traxxas has checked out. Here we have really beefy tools in the E-Revo 2. Needs 50 years until they do something. It's also not a record. Hobao in the monster truck has beefy tools, and HPI has also made the experience. A Savage HP comes out, diff destruction, upgrade on the diffs, still diff destruction, and a third time upgrade until we have strong diffs in the Savages. But all that newer brand has already all that in the hand. They knew small tools are bad in cars with heavy weight and big or grippy tires, but they continue to do it. I understand that because they have a whole row. The buggy, the trucky, the muggy and all that stuff has the same diffs in there, but I really think that Team Magic has done the better job at that point also, because they have take the beefy tools until down to the buggy. So you have the B8 ER with monster truck tools at the main pinion gear, and that's evolution. They have do the same in the team RCalsace, and we hope they will do a truggy, we hope they will do a monster truck. They have the E6. I have so many models here, I don't know anymore what is what. So that's something I miss at this Arrma at that point, are just a new range of pinion gear. It's so clear when you put bigger pinion in the gears, you have less, so you have to change the gear ratio in the center. You have to put a bigger main gear in the center if you have no diff reduction. That's something we must keep in mind, and it's not easy in any car to have a big main pinion gear in the center. That's why on Moggies like the Revo we have reduction gear. So that's just my point of view for the differentials. So why did I take the EXP and not the V5? Because first of all, when I see they don't put out the Talion EXP as a roller, I was boring, I don't want to pay the Spectrum electronic. I don't like Spectrum servos. I had many. I have Lozi 5 T, Lozi 5B, Lozi DBXL, Lozi Super Rockray, Super Baja, Super Rockray 2, Super Baja Crew, and no, not in the Super Baja. After the Super Baja it was okay, but in all that cars, since they put Spectrum servo in there, I had servo breakdowns. I have shaking servos, I had electronic outburns, and even on a 5T a tooth break on a 1/5 scale servo. That's something not usual, sorry. So I don't like that, but we have to get them a chance, because many brands, all brands, make shitty things and good things, and the strange thing is that you have something good who's gonna be better, and sometimes you have something bad and suddenly good. And any brand make that in all case. If it's the radio system, even the battery, you have a brand you really like that because you are so happy with the battery. They put a new series out, and this new series of battery is bad because they have changed something in the chemistry, or from the brand who give them the stuff to do the battery. We don't know. So here's the same. So I was at the point, should I take, if it's an RTR, why should I pay 70-50, it's what it costs here in Europe, 750 euros, since instead of 650 for the V5. The V5 has the new chassis with more profile, is also a really good chassis. I had no issue on Talion with bending some shock towers, so I don't need 70-75 shock towers, because they are really small shock towers, so if you bend such a shock tower you have really made a bad crash. The body from the XB are all the same colors. I already have the Mojave, I have the Creighton XB, so I want to have a different color, and I really like the red one. So I was really thinking of, but then, and we have the same electronic in there also, we have the same shocks, we have the same A-arms. In the beginning the XB had the better suspension arms, that's the V4, but now the V5 has these beefy, over super tough A-arms. So the difference for me, the thing who make me buy this baby are, first of all, the belted tires, and the fact that the EXB diffs are stronger than the standard diff from Arrma. That's why you see here not any much Arrma, but anytime S3. We have the Mojave, I have the Outcast 8S or 12S now, and I have now again a Talion. So don't tell me I don't like Arrma or such stuff. I like them, but I like drive a lot, and that's why I anytime had preferred the Obao or Team Magics, because instead the Arrmas, because the diffs are on the most of the cars you have here are there because they have good differential. It's easy access, it's okay, but it's boring to open many times. And I mean, they tell you open it after 10 drives. 10 drives is 1 day driving here in my case, and I don't want any time, any Sunday I have drive my Talion, any Monday I have to open my diffs, change all the oil, clean all the stuff, reshime all the stuff and all that. That's really, it's not a weak point from the car, it's the weakest point from the car. This Arrma differential who are really wear really fast. Many of you, or here in Europe, many of us has the issue with the metal part coming out from the plastic part on the differential. That's also boring, all the oil on there. It's not happen if you maintain. So that's why it's not a weak point. But you have to maintain more this differential than the Obao diffs, than the, even you don't gonna like what I'm gonna say now, but you have to maintain way more the Arrma diffs than the Traxxas diffs. Some people are gonna say it's normally with the Traxxas you are always break down, you not drive so much. I understand that, it's not an issue. And it's not, for me, it's not a war between the brands. I have here from anything. I have Tamiya, Serpent, Kyosho, Mugen, 110, 1.8, 124, 1/5 scale. I have all. I love all RC. So it's just, I just explain you why I do not have here any more standard Arrma. So because of this always have to be maintained differentials. I prefer to drive than to maintain, even if it's my job. That's maybe why. So that's why I take the EXB differentials. Take care of him, take EXB differentials. Oh, my SD card is gonna be full, so I'm gonna quick cut off and put another SD card with the camera. Just a moment, please. Here we are again, just a moment. In German we say, when you just take a mouthful, it's a Schluck. So I take a Schluck of coffee, and now here again. Where is the differential? So that's why I take the EXB, because the EXB diffs are needs less maintenance. The bad point in the EXB is the EXB. When you drive like don't forget that, on grass. I had the Kraton, and you see in the Kraton video, anytime you hit the throttle, when the diffs are locking, the car dance really fast off one tire in the grass, in the loose, in the dirt, and the gravel. It's awesome, it's really nice. That's why I have the Mojave EXB here with sleepy BF Goodrich tires. So with that tire, the car is always sleeping, and because of my self-locking diffs, you have always and anytime a nice drift control from the car, and that's the way I like to drive my short cars. I'm drifting even in the grass, and that is super nice. So the Talion has the smaller Qatari tires, the belted are a little bit harder, and I know this tire are gonna be more sleepy also in the grass. Even now we have here winter, so we have 99% from the time a wet grass to drive, and in this condition it's surely gonna be super fine. So, but I have prevent. I also buy the D-boots from the Outcast and SRC off-road crusher. A little bit brighter, makes him look really bad, and The other nice stuff at this truggy is the ground clearance. Even if it's a low profile speed truggy, this truggy has a big ground clearance. That's something I really like, especially for jumps, because you have plenty of travel to stop the car before it hits the ground. And the new suspension setup from Arrma is also great. We see at the point from the V1, V2, we had 2 weak springs. The car was always too down, the springs was even too short at the V1. After V3 we had better springs, and then they begin to do something I don't like by Arrma, is listen to the big jumpers. The big basher jumpers tell them to put harder oil. So the car was so hard that it was no more comfortable to drive in off-road. It's not an issue because you can change the shock piston, you can change the oil, but I don't understand why they do it so hard just for the jumpers. You have to think when you do an RTR for the standard driver, and the special drivers has to make themselves the stuff to make harder oil or harder diff oils or softer diff oils in the car. Also, I think that all that stuff for the geeks, that means telemetry and AVC, should be an option. I don't want to pay anymore for all that stuff I don't need and never use. Those who want this should pay the option for it. Leave us alone with this always going high price for stuff we don't need. So this thing looks awesome. It has a really nice touch from the front, from the sides. It's not also bright as a Kraton or Outcast. That's also something I prefer, to not have the widened hubs here they put in the Kraton, all that stuff. Now we have no battery in there, that's why it looks so high. With the batteries in there, you put about 600-700 grams with a standard 6S 5000 mAh battery. The ride height is about here, and that's nice. They also think and something, they changed something in the front. At the V3 I get, we had some spacer here to provide the shocks to go, because they are really laying down. You have negative suspension travel. What's negative suspension travel is when the chassis is at the ground, you can anytime lift up, steal the tires. So because of that, at V3 the CVD comes anytime out from the drive cup when you bump hard out, so you had to put a spacer on your shocks to provide that. Easy to do and really effective. It's the V5, no, the V4 I get, because of that suspension travel, the drive cups was grubbing around in the A-arm. So they have done now a grub for themselves in the A-arm to provide that, and as I see here, it works. It's really effective. The arm is way far from the drive cups, and even if I have here full suspension travel, the CVD is not at the limit to go out from the drive cup, and it's also not pushing on it. It was also a major failure when you have so much suspension travel, is when the dog bone or CVD touch when you're in full compression at the side from the diff cup, because you press the diff cup in the differential and you destroy the differential or the drive cup anytime. So that means that out from the box this car has nothing bad. That's all I want to say. I know many people, when they listen something, they are just always, when we YouTubers or something criticize something they like, they already almost and immediately, you tell bullshit. But listen, hold the video, wait until the end, then overthink what you want to tell me and tell me that with a smile. You can be not happy with me, it's normal, but I always communicate with smiles. I'm a happy guy, I'm not an aggressive guy, so don't be aggressive with me. It's just my hobby. so I do and tell and drive like I want. So just for get a negative point to this car, I gotta tell, for that price I want here some mud flaps. I don't know if the Spectrum servo gonna be good, okay, and why put an orange wire and ESC in a red and black car? That's so much of a miss in color match. And that's all I have to say about negative point of this car. It costs now 750 euro in France, but this is a really achieved car. I know I'm gonna have no surprise with that car. It's a tough one, it's a powerful one. Suspension setup out from the box is nice. The bearing are good quality. The plastic are a good quality. The differential, because it's EXP, are good quality. I really hope they want to do some upgrades at the standard Arrma differential. Because now it's Horizon. Why did you not put lousy diffs in there? Or because that car was the base. Think back, Durango DEX 408T. So why does Arrma not produce Durango differentials? Because with the Durango differentials we had never issues. So it's something strange. So what I want to say is, this is an RTR. You just have to put out from the box, put your battery in there, check out the trims, check out the programming from DSC. I can tell only one thing. Before you go drive, check your brake. Because Spectrum has the strange habit to put only 37% on brake. And we see it at the especially on-road car. You pull the throttle out to 90-100 km an hour, then you want to brake and nothing happens. The car has no really brake. And they have done here also. We have the same setup, 37% brake out from the box. That's what is said in the manual. I don't check it now. I'm gonna check it because this is dangerous. Especially don't understand it because you have here a knob to adjust the brake. That means it would be better if they put a little bit too hard brake out from the box, because you can reduce here your brake. So why put so slow, so less brakes on the car RTR? Don't know. The other stuff I don't like, 25% timing and the motor. That means motor heat. Bring that back to 7 or 11%, because your electronic gonna thank you. This car comes out from box with a 15 tooth pinion. They claimed 80 km an hour. It's way enough. I let it this way because the tires are light and sleepy, so it's not a problem, not gonna force, gonna be really nice to drive with that power. And if you're thinking for the same price you get the e-Revo, but on the e-Revo you have to change the servos, you have to reinforce a little bit the back, you have bad tires. It's not the same type of car, because you have here gear reduction, you have way more suspension travel, but it's slightly the same weight, slightly the same size, slightly the same performance. So I love my e-Revo, but if I could only take one for the same price, I'm gonna take that. That's my opinion. This one is better for the big off-road, but this one still has enough ground clearance to do it anytime. You can put a little bit more off-road tires, a little bit bigger on it. You can soften a little bit the suspension if you want to drive beefy off-road. The biggest difference is the flat alloy chassis. because there's one thing I'm always gonna tell you, and there's no escape to that, is that a plastic molded 3-part or 2-part chassis is and always gonna be the best for bash. Plastic chassis is cheap. This molded stuff is flex, it can move, it can hit, take many hits, and even if you destroy one, it's really fast and cheap to change. If you, especially for the skate park drivers, if you drive skate parks, use a chassis, use a molded chassis plastic, because if you hit many times in the middle of the chassis or the length time or left or right, the chassis will survive, and the alloy chassis never gonna survive that. You always gonna bend it, and then gonna go for 5 or 4 or 6 or 7 millimeter M2C chassis is also a little bit at the point it's too much. So think on where you're gonna drive, what you're gonna do with the car before buy it. Even if that's a fact, most of the time you buy a truck because it looks great. That's the first thing we're gonna make you go to that or that truck, is I prefer how that truck looks like. Then you looks like how it performs. Then you check out the price, and then only you check out weak points and bad points. And yeah, think on which area you're gonna drive. If you drive in a lot of gravel or skate parks, take a plastic molded chassis. That's the point where I take the Traxxas cars, because the most of the time I use the Traxxas car for go wild, because it don't hurt me when I destroy something on a Traxxas. See it that way. It's not because I prefer Traxxas, it's just before it don't hurt me. If I break a chassis on a Traxxas, I love 30 bucks, 4th hour on screwdriver, and I change the chassis. When I bend an XB chassis or a competition car chassis or a nice car chassis, I'm pissed off 2-3 minutes. Then okay, I laugh again, but just so you understand me more. Because many people tell me, why are you laughing on the video when you're destroying your car? Because it's no one inside. That's why I make RC cars and not run myself the cars. I'm not so nuts to get my ass in a car and try a backflip. Bye God.